Hey guys, this is the first tutorial for arrays, or kind of getting used to arrays. It's called the Fun and Games tutorial. We're going to make some bubbles float up the screen, and we're going to do some Mad Libs in this just to kind of get ourselves used to dealing with arrays. So the first thing I want to do with you is just going over declaring and initializing arrays and how to do that. The starter file should have all sorts of gray commenting in, and this is where you should be filling this in, and you should not be looking at this until you've actually tried to do this yourself. It's basically like a bit of an answer key, but it talks about the answers for you, so you can kind of do this at your own speed, and I don't have to press you in class to get it done and then have to go over it with the entire class. So please make sure you've tried this out yourself first. So the first piece is declare an array called numbers and initialize it to hold on to 7 whole numbers. So we're not actually declaring the numbers needed in the array. We're going to do that later, but we want it to be able to hold on to 7 numbers. So first thing we're going to do, of course, is say private. And that's because this is an instance variable. It's located at the top of the screen rather than inside these methods. Inside these methods, when we declare and say int, like if we did something like this, int num, okay, that would be declaring a local variable, and that would make it only available to this particular method. When we want it available to the entire class, we need to actually put it at the top of the screen here, and we need to make sure we say private in front so it's not available to any other class. So private int numbers, and we're going to initialize it. Okay, so we declared here, initialize it to hold on to a new bunch of integers, specifically 7 of them. Okay, this is how we declare that we want our array to hold on to 7 numbers. Now remember, with arrays, we can't resize them. Once we've said 7 numbers, that's all it can hold. Okay, so we can't make it hold more, and we also can't make it hold less spaces. Like, it's always going to take up 7 spaces on our RAM. Okay, oh, what do we have here? Private, oh, I forgot these square brackets here. Okay, so we're saying that this is not just going to be a single integer, it's going to be an integer array. The next thing that we've got here, it says declare an array of whole numbers called bubble sizes and initialize it to hold onto 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. So in this case, we're actually going to put the numbers and hard code those numbers in. That's going to look something like this. So again, it's a instance variable, so it's got to be private. It's going to hold on to integers, and it's an array. So that's what those square brackets tell us. We then want it to be called bubble sizes. And we're going to make it initialize it, or we're going to initialize it to hold on to 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. And you'll notice that I put commas between all of these and surround it by curly brackets to say that this is what we want our array to hold on to. Okay, so this would only hold on to 5 different integers ever. The next, we've got here, declare an array of words called adjectives that hold on to the words silky, furry, gentle, hilarious, and insane. Okay, so we are going to say private, and it is going to hold on to the words silky, furry, gentle, hilarious, and insane. So they are words, so we need it to hold on to strings. Okay, and it's a string array. It's an array of a bunch of strings. So we are going to say now, it's called adjectives, so we want to give that a name. Okay, and we are going to set that equal to, well, let's see. It says an array of words called adjectives. So these words are going to go inside curly brackets, and it's going to be silky. So of course it's a string. We want to put double quotation marks around this. Oh, and I want to make sure that I've got a comma afterwards, separating all these. Furry, gentle, hilarious, and insane. Okay, so this is now going to hold on to a bunch of adjectives: silky, furry, gentle, hilarious, and insane, and it's hard-coded to these particular strings. We can change them later, but right now we're just going to hard-code them like so. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to declare an array of words called nouns plural. Oops, didn't spell that right. Plural. There we go. That holds on to the words children, policemen, horses, kittens, spaceships, and plants. So let's do this private as we have been been doing before. This is also holding on to a bunch of words, so it's going to be another string array. It's going to say nouns plural. Okay, because that's what we want to call it, is nouns plural. There we go. Okay, and so that declares our array to be a string array that is going to be called nouns plural. Now we're going to make it hold on to these particular plural nouns. Children. Policemen. Horses, kittens. Oh, forgot a piece here. Gotta have that double quotation mark. Spaceships. Quotation marks again. And last one, plants. Okay, good. So declare an array of words called nouns plural that hold on to the words children, policemen, horses, kittens, spaceships, and plants. Done. Okay. Last array we're going to deal with here is an array of color objects. Okay, now we've dealt with these before. Okay, so we have to say private. Okay, we are going to, now we're holding on to color objects. Remember, this is kind of like holding on to like a bunch of crayons. It's not actually holding on to words. This is going to be holding on to colors for us, okay? And these colors are static variables from the color class. So we're going to actually say color here with square brackets. And we are going to say, it's called, what's the array of color objects that will hold on to the colors? Okay, so let's add to this. Declare an array of color objects called colors. That will hold on to the colors, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I put a U there, but then I didn't because I just remembered it's an object type, right? Color is an object type. It's an object that we can make. And so when I actually use the variable or name this, I'm going to use colors with the Canadian spelling because it doesn't matter what we call it. We can call it whatever we want, whereas this has to be spelt exactly the same because this is an object that Greenfoot has for us created. Okay, so we're going to do this, and again, curly brackets, but this time we're going to put the colors in, like color yellow, color magenta, color light gray, so on and so forth. We're not going to put it in quotation marks because we're actually referencing, like I said, static variables. So we're not referencing strings, it's not holding onto strings, it's holding onto these color objects that can be found at color yellow, color, color dot magenta, color dot light gray, and last one is going to be color dot blue. Okay, so good. Now I have an array filled with colors. So let's go over this one last part. We're going to actually fill this array that we made up here, that we declared up here and said hold on to seven different numbers. Okay, we're going to actually declare this down here. Okay, let's do this together just so you can see how we can declare an array by using a loop. Oops. My computer's moving awfully slow when I'm doing these videos and it's not. There we go. Okay, so using a for loop, fill the array with as many numbers as it can fit. These numbers should be between 0 and 100. Okay, so I should say, so like it says here, fill the array numbers. Okay, so how are we going to do this? What we're going to do here is we are going to use a for loop, of course, to fill this because we just have to put whatever random numbers into this array. Okay, we don't know what numbers they're going to be, but we know we only have so many spaces and they're supposed to be between 0 and 100. So this is something that repeats over and over. We should be using a for loop for it. So for, we'll just say int I equals 0. I shouldn't have to explain for loops because you guys should know this. Okay, while I is less than, okay, how are we going to say fill the array with as many numbers as it can fit? We are going to use the length of the array. So that is going to be, oh, sorry, the name of the array, which is numbers. Okay, and then we are going to say dot length. And we aren't going to put any round brackets after. We're not going to do anything else. But again, this is how we get the length of an array. Okay, so while I is less than that length, I plus plus. Okay. So let's see here. Okay, so we've got this. Okay, we've got our array, or it's going to, our loop, it's going to go through, and we are going to fill the array with as many numbers as it can fit. The array's name is numbers. Okay, and to access a particular index, we can say square brackets, and we could say 0. We could say 1, we could say 2, we could say 3, we could say 4, we could say 5, we could say 6. In the case of numbers, we can only say up to 6 because it only has a total of 7 indices. We start counting at 0. But in the case that we're filling this over and over again, we are going to let I represent the current number we want to fill. So on the first iteration, I is going to be set to 0, so we'll be filling the index of number 0. On the second iteration, I will now be equal to 1, so we'll be filling the numbers array at index 1. Then it's going to be equal to 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and we're going to fill this array numbers with this particular index number, okay? So whatever I currently is. Okay, so numbers I, oops, square brackets, there we go. I'm going to say that is set to equals a number between 0 and 100. So again, here we're just going to use greenfoot.get random number. And we're going to say 100. Oh, not 1,000. 100. Okay, and what's going to happen here is we will actually fill this array of numbers with a random number between 0 and 100. Okay, so here's how I can show you that this works. I'm going to do system.out.println. Hold on 2 seconds here. Okay, and I am going to print out the value of numbers I. So this should end up printing out 7 numbers for us. If we call it, let's see where fill numbers is called. Ah, it's called right here. Perfect. Okay, so when I compile, watch what happens. Oh, there we go. Just being very slow. Okay, we get 7 numbers. This is what we just did here. We filled the array numbers with 87, 55, 12, 8, 37, 66, and 58. Okay, so that is now full of those numbers. Every time we compile, it's going to be a different amount of numbers, or not a different amount of numbers, but different numbers put in there every time. All right, where is it? Where's our terminal window? Oh, hiding behind here. Okay, hold on 2 seconds. I don't think it's compiling. Let's just I'll do a quick swipe to the top here. Although not so quick because my computer's going so slow. If I hit enter, it should compile it. Yep, there we go. There we go, and a different 7 numbers. Again, it's just going to keep these here because the top ones, because those are printed. So we get a new set of 7 numbers every time we compile. So a bunch of random numbers. All right, this concludes the first part where we're just initializing and declaring different types of arrays. And we'll do the Mad Libs piece